Hey guys, welcome to my Cisco command line for beginners, pretty much. I'm going to be going through all the beginning stages of a router configuration, and I'm going to be explaining, like the privilege modes and the different config lines and everything. So we're going to get started here. I'm just going to explain what we're looking at right now. If you guys have never seen this, it's called Packet Tracer. Great program for testing out a network. I'm gonna try and simulate this as real as I possibly can and explain everything so you guys can visualize it. So I listed our objectives here. So we're gonna change the host name of the router to router 1. We're going to change the password for privileged mode to Cisco 123. And privileged mode is just a mode that we can do like general administration. Just think of it as nothing that can change the configuration of the router. We're going to set the passwords for Telnet and SSH, and we're going to set the passwords for the console. We're also going to set up some banners and some login messages, and we're going to set up the IP addresses as you see them here. So 192.168.1.1 and a -24, so 24-bit subnet mask, and same with these two. And so what this is just kind of picture this as a small office, okay? So you got your router, and it's cabled in with straight through cable all the way to your switch, and then your switch you have connected to your management, so you got your boss here or yourself, and then you got your agents or your users down here, just connected to the Ethernet, or to the switch via Ethernet cable, which is like Cat 5 or Cat 6, your standard blue or black, or you can get it in different colors. So you just plug everything in. You haven't done anything yet. So you get your IT department, they come in with their laptop and they connect their console cable to their laptop through the RS port on their laptops right to the console cable of the router. Alright, so then within their laptop, within Windows, they open up a terminal session. Okay, don't let this confuse you. You can do this in Windows. So you just open up a terminal session. You can use like Hyper Terminal, whichever program you choose. And you want to make sure your settings are the same as this, which is default pretty much. So bits per second 96, 100, data bits 8, parity none, stop bits 1, and flow control none. And just hit OK. And you're gonna get to this screen here. It might look a little different depending on how you guys are doing this. If you guys are doing this with real equipment, you'll probably get that black screen with the gray writing. But for us, we're doing it through Packet Tracer. So what you're looking at now is just like this first page you'll see when you log into your router. You can hit no here, or yes if you want to walk through the basic configuration of your router. We're going to do everything by hand, let's say. But if you wanted to, you can also look up here and you can get some information about your router. So as you can see here, we got 2 fast Ethernet ports, 802.3, that's Ethernet. If we had wireless, it would say 802.11. We got 191,000 bytes of NVRAM. We got, this much bits flash, our software 1841, the version 12.4. Okay, and it tells us if we need some support we can go to cisco.com. So moving on, I'm gonna hit an N here for no, and I'm gonna get to my getting started, so hit enter again. And you want to look at indicator here beside the name or word router. See how it's like a forward arrow, like a greater than symbol right there? That indicates which authenticated permission you're in, like which control you can do. So this one is called user exec mode, which is very limited functionality. Like I mean, basic show commands, no like debugging or nothing, just pretty much you can see things about the router. That's pretty much about all you can do. Now to move up a level, to get to privileged exec mode, which you can do some basic administration, you can do some debugging, but you can't do, just think of it as you can't do anything that can change the router. I know I said that, but that's like the best way to think of privilege mode. So to get there, you go enable and hit enter and see how it changed to the prompt. Well, that means whatever you guys want to call that. I can't think of it right now. But anyways, that's the privilege exec mode. Now from here you can issue some show commands. Show version, for instance, is a good show command to get some information about your router. So hit enter. And again, it's pretty much the same thing we just seen at the starting. Shows the same. The only real difference is you can see your system file image here. So this just that's the name of the image for your configuration here, like your flash. Alright. So you can hit enter or spacebar. Enter will go line for line, spacebar will just do the whole page. And again, we get the same information down here. Okay, so you got the 1841. Everything else is the same. Tells you your memory though. You can go like show IP interface brief, and you can see a list of your interfaces here, which is a good command to learn too. Like once you have everything in production and you guys are having an issue, just issue one of these. You can pinpoint which interface is down. You'll notice it over here. Administratively down just means there's a no shutdown, or there's a shutdown command issued. We'll get into that in a bit. So moving on, to start doing our job that we got hired to do here, to set up our network here for this little company, we have to move into configuration mode, and that's a level up from privilege exec mode. And with this mode, this is like the admin mode of the router. You can change anything you want in the router with this mode. So you just want to issue a config, and then T. You can hit tab and you'll finish off the word and hit enter. And now notice how we have bracket config. So that means we're in the config mode. And the great power of the Cisco iOS is the help. Okay? It's nothing misleading if you've ever seen a lot of other command line and you're trying to issue the help button. There's just all these, it just doesn't even look English. Well, with the Cisco iOS, you just issue a question mark and it'll automatically list what you can do and the position you're at. So for instance, what's the first thing we have to do here on our chores? We gotta change the host name. Okay, so to change the host name, let's see, so scroll down your list. Okay, host name, set system network's name. Alright, so just hit enter until you get to the end. You can scroll through and take your time and look at all the things you can do, or just hit spacebar. So now we can go host name, and then what? Okay, you're still unsure, so you just hit question mark, and now it tells you what you can do at host name. So when it says word, that just means you type something. So whatever it is whatever comes after host name, that's going to be the name of your router. So our boss here wants us to name it R1. So we're just going to go R1 and hit enter. And now look, we have R1 bracket config bracket. Before we had router. Okay, so that's done. So now he wants us to set a password for privilege mode. So remember, privilege mode is that, and that is user mode. So when they say they want to set a password for privilege mode, that means when we're sitting at this prompt and we go enable, there's going to be a password to get there. So he wants us to set that, make it a little more secured. So again, we're gonna have to go into the config T, and we're gonna go enable. Let's see if we can get there through help, if it's easy. So we'll hit question mark. So enable, if you see here, modify enable password parameters. Okay. So you might not have known that it was enable that you had to go to, but you know, a quick search on the internet, how to set privilege mode, you'll figure it out. So anyways, you want to go to enable, and then you can hit question mark. I'm going to stop doing the question mark once you get the idea that you can pretty much issue it wherever you are in the command. So this one's a good choice because see here you got two selections, you got password and secret. So what that means is password will assign the privilege level password, and the difference between them is secret will encrypt your password and password will be plain text. So when you issue a show run, you'll be able to see, you know, the enable password is whatever we enable it as. So I know our boss didn't really specify it up here, but we're gonna make it encrypted. So all you do is you go enable secret, because that's the only two. We can either hit password or secret, and then hit space. So from here we can put a 0 to specify unencrypted password, which we don't want. 5, which, you know, specifies encrypted. Like, see how nice and easy it is to read this command line? It's beautiful. So we're gonna go 5, let's say, and we're gonna name it Cisco 123. Now we got no errors, nothing came up, so we know now that that worked. So if we wanted to issue a show run, and I'll introduce you to the do command. The do command, which you just go do show run. Some commands will only let you run them in privilege mode, like saving privilege mode. So if you issue a do show run or a do save startup config, running config, you'll be able to do it from whichever privilege mode you are. So do show run. Okay, wait a minute, for some reason that didn't make it encrypted. So we're gonna change that. I'll show you guys that in a second. So enable secret and then Cisco. Doing the 5, you know, seeing how it said that it would be encrypted. Oh well. Do show run, and now we can see that our secret is just like, you can't guess that. You know, like that would be so hard to guess that says Cisco 123. Alright, so moving on here. When you issue a show run, you can also see the status of your interfaces a little more detail. So just telling us there's no IP address, there's no duplex, there's no speed. It's shut down. Same with our VLAN. So moving on now, before our boss gets pissed off at us. He wants us to enable passwords for Telnet and SSH. So what Telnet and SSH is that like, actually you see here in your VTY lines, your VTY line 0 to 4. What that means is you can have 5 current Telnet logins at the same time. You always count 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 5. And you can always, some routers have 15, so if you want to secure all the connections, you'd have to go line VTY 0 space 15. For our case, we only have to go 4. So we're going to go to line VTY 0 to 4, and then go password question mark. Let's just see. Let's go 7 question mark word. So our line, our Telnet and SSH, he said to name it snakes. So hit enter and login. And when you enter login here, that just prompts for the password when they go to log in through Telnet and SSH. So exit. and he wants us to do the password for console. So again, if you can see here, when we did our show run, you can see line con 0. So that's where you want to type in line con space 0 password. Might as well hit 7. And he needs this one as need to know. Enter. And invalid. So for some reason, I guess it's the packet tracer that's not allowing me to do the encrypted passwords for some reason. So you can just go password need to know and then log in again so that it prompts for when they log in and exit. So now when we do a show run, you see our privilege mode is encrypted. You see our host name is our router 1. Still, again, we haven't configured any of our interfaces, and our password for line console is 0. And it looks like again that encrypted password for the line VTY is glitching in packet tracer. So let's just go back in there. So line VTY 0 to 4 password, and he wants it as snakes. Login, exit, do show run, go down, and now it's there, and it's there too for line con. Okay, so we've set up all the passwords, made it a little more secured now. We gave it the host name, so now we want to set up MOTD, so that's message of the day. So what that is when we log into the router, we're always going to see this message. So that's just a banner, so you can go banner, and then MOTD. You're going to issue any, I'm going to say, character on your keyboard, and this is what's going to tell the router, okay, when you see this command, anything after it is going to be my text for the banner, and then you're going to have to hit that same key at the end of your text so that the router knows between the two that that's your message. So I like to use at, because not too often you're going to use that in your message. So you can just hit enter, and then now you're going to see enter text and end with the character at. So I like to give it a little flashy thing here. Enter, enter, enter. Unauthorized access is prohibited. Must see administrator for more details. And that's what he wants us to have. Okay. And then we just issue a at, and we hit done. And there's our message of the day. So to see that, we can go end. And oh my god. Well, I'm going to make you guys sit through this. This is the worst part. Is when the router comes to a configuration and it doesn't know it, it tries to translate it. And this takes a while. And I'm serious, you guys are going to sit through this with me. I'll show you guys how to disable this later on. It's really annoying. And I get too caught up in the getting down in my privilege modes. Just kept hitting end, but it's exit. Yeah, you see how much this would suck when you're right in the middle of configuring something and you just make a boo-boo and you gotta wait 2 minutes? Okay, so now we're gonna hit enter. So this is pretty much as if we're, and it says line, R1, line con is now available. So we might even have to enter a password. So we hit enter, and look at that. We gotta enter our password because we're on our line con, which is this, so our password should be need to know. And here's our banner, so whenever someone sees this, they will get that. So let's log in with need to know, enter. Look at that. Damn, we're good. So now we want to enable, and our password for enable comes up, and what's that? Cisco 123. Alright, so config T. So what did he want us to do now? set a login message too. So same thing, banner, and instead of going MOTD, you're gonna go login. And what that's gonna do is send a message after you hit enter in the password here. It's gonna like just kind of brief, so you can like tell your your authenticated people, hey, what to do. So login again at, and then you start your text. See Paul in administration for login credentials. Pretty easy. End it with an at. Done. So let's just see this. Okay, so we hit enter. Oh, that's crappy. Shows up right there. But anyways, that is the login. That's where it goes. I was mistaken. I really did think it was after the password. Alright, so we want to hit need to know, and then enable Cisco 123 config T, because now I think our next step is to set up the gateway with the IP address. Alright, so let's move our file over and let's get a shot here of our network. Alright, so our gateway needs to be 192.168.1.1. So to do that, you go, actually I'll show you with the help. I know it's interface. So it's interface, select an interface to configure, pretty straightforward. So interface, and then for short form you can go FA for fast Ethernet. I don't know why that works, or you can go like this. So you can go FA for fast Ethernet. Okay, so FA. And then you want to configure the interface that you're trying to get to. So if you're unsure, you can always check your router. So it's FA 0.0 or 0/0. So 0/0. Enter. Okay, so now you can see you're in config-if. That means you're in the interface configuration mode. So to issue an IP address, it's pretty straightforward. IP address. And then they want to name it 192.168.1.1 space subnet mask in full form, so 255.255.255.0. Enter. Okay, so now you just gave it an IP address, but the interface is still shut down. It's only open when an administrator opens it. So for that, you just go no shutdown. Enter. Now you can see your messages here. You can see your little green light pop up. So now your interface is up. Fast Ethernet 00, change state to up. Now you can go exit. So that's done. And now we want to figure the rest of the computers with the proper IP addresses. So later on in more detailed videos, we can set up a DHCP pool on our router, and we can have our computers point to that and they'll get their IP addresses. But for now we're going to do it static, so it just means we're just going to be putting in their IP addresses. So here we can go end, exit. We're done. Okay, so we're out of our terminal. We disconnect our cable and we come over here. I don't have a little bit numb, so we walk over here and we just set up this computer and we're looking at it. Alright, so we're gonna go to the desktop. We're gonna go into IP configuration. We're gonna go 192.168.1.10. Subnet mask should auto populate, and default gateway is the gateway of our router. So it's 192.168.1.1, 192.168.1.1, and it just saves it. And we can make sure that we set that correctly. And we can do an IP config. And there we go. So from So from computer 1.10 we've set it up. Let's try and ping our router. 192.168.1.1. Hit enter. As you can see now, we can speak to the other router, so that's good. So this computer is set up. So the management, they're good to go. We of course got to make them ready. And then you walk over to the agent computer, and you want to do the same thing, but just to show you guys, we'll try and ping our router. And we're going to get nothing, obviously, because we have no IP address. So Control C to end that. So IP config 192.168.1.11 should auto-populate 192.168.1.1 for default gateway. Command prompt, hit up, ping, good to go. So now we've set up everything, and we now have routing between the computers, the gateway, and just to check the ping between agents and management to see if they can talk to each other. We'll issue a ping to 1.10, hit enter, and we can reply. You don't need to do this one, because if one replies, they're both going to work, because one issues the ping and the other one receives the ping. So that's it for this video, and in the next videos we'll get a little more detail, and we'll set up like a VLAN so we can separate these two networks here. And this is going to be the building block, because we're going to build off of this network, and our company is going to grow, and he's going to give us more objectives to do. So stay tuned, and hopefully you guys learned something from this, and thanks a lot.